Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 12 of 2023. Another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. As ever, let's crack on. As ever, if you like it, give it a like, all that good stuff as well. So, first one is a camera. Now, this is a tiny camera. As you can see, it's the size of a grain of sand or grain of salt, whatever you want to use. Now, this is quite interesting because it can be sort of printed using, I guess, microchip technology. So that allows you to print this onto any surface. Now, it can't just use a camera with lenses and stuff, because the way it uses these little posts is it directs light as though it was a lens, and then it uses quite complex algorithms to generate or create the image from that. So the point of this is it could make surfaces become cameras in the future. So you might not actually need a camera lens and all that sort of stuff that we're currently seeing, with lenses getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and your phone no longer fits on the table because it rocks on its lens. This might just be you can print lenses on anything. Might also mean that the future of kind of spying and all those sorts of things also gets a little bit creepy as well. GPT-4 is out, so this is big news. It sort of snuck in. There's lots of other people putting these kind of big language models out there at the moment, or large language models. So GPT-4 said, well, we'll put ours out as well. So this was the launch. I've just cut the main bits out of the video, but there's lots of launch videos, developer videos, etc. The main headlines really, I guess there's two for me, well maybe three. One is the actual data set itself, although OpenAI have been quite cagey about the size of that. GPT-3 had 175 billion parameters. Apparently this may or may not have 100 trillion or thereabouts, so quite a lot bigger, about 3.5 times the size or 3 times the size of the actual data training model as well. However, the big two things that it does, one is it's multimodal, which means it can do images and text as well, so probably videos as well. So that's the multimodal part of it, and also you train it on the fly. So rather than having a relatively opaque model where you're not quite sure how it's coming up with the answers it's doing, and there was a sort of it had a sort of memory issue. You could actually talk to it and it would remember things, but come at it a little bit later, GPT-3 would forget. Now what you can do is literally you can say, right, I want you to train on this data, give it the data, and it would then start using that data to train on. So you can almost set it, like you can tell it what it needs to be, give it some data, and away it goes. So that's really quite interesting. As per GPT-3, it's a beta at the moment, but if you signed up to the commercial version of GPT-3, then you'll be at the front of the queue for this. Hot on the heels of that, the Chinese version, there are several of them already, but this is probably the one that most people have been looking forward to. So this is Baidu's, who, if you don't know, they're kind of the Chinese sort of almost like Amazon, have fingers in lots of pies, from shopping to search to web browsing, all that sort of stuff. They have revealed Ernie. Now, Ernie is not a particularly great phrase. It's enhanced representational from knowledge integration, so it's a little bit dodgy, but we'll let that one slide. Now this wasn't without its problems, so a lot of what you're seeing here are pre-canned videos, and when there was a live thing that did go on, it slightly fluffed up the facts. There was some sort of fun facts about history of China, but what it is doing is it's actually responding in much more dialects, which are quite tricky, shall we say. So unfortunately it wasn't really what the industry was hoping for from this big announcement, and stock actually fell by 6.4% on Thursday because of that. But there you go. But you know, it's just another one out there. This is very exciting news. This is quantum exchange-free counter-portation. So counter-portation is the new kids version of teleportation. Now, if you are teleporting, you need to transfer some data from A to B, i.e., you know, visual information or physical information, whatever it is. Now that's the problem. So if only you could open up a wormhole in a lab, for instance, and then once you open up a wormhole, you basically put the data you want straight where you want it, and therefore the data doesn't have to go anywhere, and therefore it can be intact. Now I'm probably absolutely mullering this description. However, this is the first time there's a sort of a blueprint for the actual experiment that could make this happen. So you're seeing this from scientists at Bristol University, so well done. If you're really interested in what's going on here, it's the standard Alice and Bob thing about how the quantum data can be shared between one and the other and not actually go from one and the other, or something like that. But there's a really interesting article that goes with it, so do have a look in the description and have a look at that. So so we might be seeing counter-portation rather than teleportation. This is very interesting if you're in that sort of engineering space, but also it's quite useful for the world of aviation and also pollution as well. So this is engineer Peter Muller, who's been working on this for a while and has just unveiled his latest one, I suspect because he's now got a patent for it, he revealed in the video as well. It uses an inside-out sort of fan system. So what you're actually seeing is there's a very simple electromagnetic array around the outside, and it spins this thing like that. So apparently it's 3.5 times more efficient, and therefore you can get obviously 3.5 times more range out of existing propellers, and at least that's the proposition here. So that's very, very interesting. So again, patent has just been granted, so he's now looking for people to take it on. I suspect that people watching this video aren't really in that category, but if you do know somebody, give Peter a shout. Microsoft, somebody's been some snooping. So this is actually from Twitter. This is the book is closed, is the Twitter feed. They've been doing some snooping around with Microsoft, especially the Edge browser, and found lots of references to a crypto wallet built in. So this is very similar to the likes of MetaMask, which you currently add as an extra onto your browser. So this will be built in. So this might pave the way for instance, pay-as-you-go browsing or micropayment web browsing, where you can then pay the recipient website rather than advertising. You can top up your wallet at the beginning of the month, give yourself say £30 or whatever dollars, and then micromanage that away through websites and donations. So that might be what's happening there, or it might just be a relatively standard crypto wallet. It has all the same standard crypto stuff, so you have address, hashes and all that sort of stuff. And finally, so this Zipline has actually been around for a while, but their previous drones essentially flew over and then dropped a little parachutey thing. This is the P2 or Platform 2 version of it, and this is a simulated flight, simulated delivery, but it actually works. So what happens here is you have a dispatch place which has these drones, and the important thing here is this sort of abseiling little package here which has little fans on it, so it can not only thrust sideways but also backwards and forwards and stabilize the package on its way down. So therefore it can land very accurately within your garden rather than just kind of throwing out a parachute and hoping it lands. So it has quite interesting stuff going on here. So there's a little wireless charger there, or at least a docking station with charger. You then see the little drone go down a chute where somebody puts the stuff into it, and then it flies away. And it flies away with horizontal blades, so almost like an aeroplane. So it's relatively silent as well, and it also saves on all the noise by having the hovering vehicle way above your house and dropping this little thing down. So everything is nice and quiet. So there you go. So that's the Zipline P2, the future of your takeaway delivery. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, give it a like, give it a share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next week.